Imagine a ship so massive, so powerful, a true behemoth of the seas. It wasn't just a ship, it was a floating fortress, a symbol of unwavering strength. This was the Mars, pride of the Swedish Royal Navy, a vessel that commanded respect and instilled fear. Built in the mid-16th century, during an era of intense naval rivalry, Mars was the largest warship of its era, a floating mountain of wood and iron. Think of it as the aircraft carrier of its day, a mobile platform of immense firepower. King Eric XIV wanted a ship that would not only defend his kingdom, but also make his enemies tremble at the mere sight of it, and he got it. A true instrument of royal power. Mars bristled with over 100 heavy cannons, a testament to its destructive potential, a weapon of war the world had never seen, capable of unleashing a storm of iron upon its foes. Its name, taken from the Roman god of war, Mars, was no accident, a deliberate invocation of martial prowess. This ship was built for conquest, for dominance of the seas, and for projecting Swedish power across the region. Its reputation struck fear into the hearts of Sweden's rivals, who knew all too well the destructive force it represented. Across the Baltic Sea, whispers of its power echoed in every port. Sailors whispered about its immense size, dwarfing all other vessels they had ever encountered, and endless rows of cannons, a seemingly infinite number of guns ready to unleash hell. To them, it was a monster from the deep, an unstoppable force of nature. The construction was a monumental feat, a massive undertaking that pushed the limits of shipbuilding technology, requiring ancient oaks felled from the deepest forests, tons of iron painstakingly forged into cannons and armor, and hundreds of skilled craftsmen, each contributing their expertise to this ambitious project. Mars was the centerpiece of King Eric's military strategy, the key to controlling the Baltic and dominating his rivals. Designed to intimidate and project overwhelming force, it was a symbol of Swedish ambition and naval might. But with such power came hubris, a sense of invincibility that often precedes a fall. Some saw the ship as defiance against God, a challenge to the natural order of things. Too big and too proud, it seemed destined for a reckoning. Legends swirled even before its maiden voyage, tales of misfortune and impending doom, with many believing it tempted fate, inviting disaster with its sheer size and ambition. The Mars became a symbol of human ambition, reaching for the heavens with its towering masts, clashing with the divine, or so some believed, setting the stage for a dramatic confrontation. Intended to secure a king's legacy, to cement his place in history, it was already sailing toward a destiny more tragic than anyone imagined, a fate that would forever alter its place in maritime lore. This magnificent warship was on a collision course with history, its journey fraught with peril and uncertainty. Its story was just beginning, a tale of ambition, power, and ultimately, tragedy. The legend of the Unsinkable Mars, a name that echoed with confidence and invincibility, was about to be put to the ultimate test, a trial by fire that would determine its true fate. The end came not gradually but swiftly and violently, a maelstrom of fire and destruction. It was a spectacle of maritime warfare at its most brutal. On May 31, 1564, a day etched in naval history during the First Battle of Åland, a clash of titans in the Baltic Sea, Mars, the pride of the Swedish fleet, found itself surrounded by a formidable force of Danish and Lübeck warships. Its cannons roared for hours, spitting fire and iron, a desperate defense against overwhelming odds. But the enemy's smaller, more agile ships circled relentlessly, like wolves closing in on their prey, exploiting the larger vessel's weaknesses. Amid the smoke and chaos of battle, enemy soldiers boarded the Mars, engaging in fierce hand-to-hand combat. In the heat of the struggle, a fire broke out on the deck, a spark that would soon consume the entire ship. Flames spread rapidly through the wooden decks and rigging, fueled by gunpowder and desperation. The fire quickly escalated, turning the mighty warship into a floating inferno, a blazing testament to the destructive power of naval warfare. The intense heat caused the ship's cannons to cook off, firing wildly in all directions, adding to the pandemonium. Trapped between the raging fire and the relentless enemy, the crew faced a terrible choice. Burn alive or leap into the freezing waters of the Baltic Sea, a desperate gamble for survival. Inevitably, the fire reached the powder magazine, the ship's most vulnerable point. The resulting explosion tore the ship apart in a cataclysmic blast, sending debris and bodies flying. Mars, once considered an unsinkable behemoth, a symbol of Swedish naval power, vanished beneath the waves in a matter of moments, swallowed by the unforgiving sea. The sinking claimed the lives of 800 to 900 souls, a devastating loss of life. The pride of the Swedish Navy was gone in a matter of hours, a crushing blow to national morale. The ship took with it a fortune in gold, silver, and bronze cannons, a king's ransom lost to the depths. The loss of the Mars was a national catastrophe, a wound that would take years to heal. The story of its fiery demise became legend, a cautionary tale whispered among sailors and historians alike. Mars became a ghost ship, a spectral reminder of the battle's carnage. It remained laden with treasure and the lost souls of its crew, a haunting monument to a bygone era. There it lay, waiting in its watery grave, undisturbed for centuries. Its tragic fate would haunt the dreams of sailors and fuel maritime legends for centuries to come. For nearly 450 years, the story of the Mars warship was more myth than reality. Its existence was debated, its location unknown. It was a legendary shipwreck, a ghost ship lost to the cold, dark depths of the Baltic Sea. The tales of its demise echoed through the centuries. Many searched for this elusive prize, driven by tales of treasure and historical significance, but the sea guarded its secret fiercely. The Baltic kept its grip on the past. But in the 21st century, technology finally caught up with the legend. The tools to pierce the murky depths became sophisticated enough to challenge the sea's grip. A dedicated team, led by Richard Lundgren, embarked on a quest to find what many believed was unfindable. This team of determined oceanographers and divers combined historical research with cutting-edge technology. They meticulously used side-scan sonar, a technology that paints a picture of the seabed using sound waves to map the ocean floor off the coast of Åland. Years of painstaking scanning, countless false leads that tested their resolve, and unwavering persistence slowly began to yield results. Their dedication finally paid off in 2011. Marking a monumental moment in maritime history. A massive, distinct shadow appeared on the sonar screen, an anomaly that hinted at something extraordinary lurking below. It was an unmistakable outline of an ancient vessel, resting nearly 250 feet down in the inky blackness. To confirm their suspicions, a remotely operated vehicle equipped with cameras was carefully descended into the abyss. The ROV's lights cut through the darkness, revealing a ghostly wall of perfectly preserved wood and rows of imposing cannon ports. They had found it. After centuries of searching, the legendary Mars had been located. The first images beamed back to the surface showed a shipwreck of astonishing scale and remarkable preservation, defying the harsh conditions of the Baltic. There were massive timbers still intact, rows of formidable cannons, and a vast debris field scattered around the wreck, telling tales of a violent end. The discovery sent shockwaves through the global maritime archaeology community, igniting excitement and anticipation. Finding Mars was akin to unearthing a lost city frozen in time, a treasure trove of historical information waiting to be unlocked. This incredible find promised to rewrite our understanding of 16th century naval warfare, offering unprecedented insights into shipbuilding, weaponry, and maritime life. The ghost ship, once relegated to the realm of legends, was undeniably real, a tangible piece of history resting on the seabed. The long hunt was finally over, but the true exploration, the meticulous work of understanding and preserving this incredible find, had only just begun. Mars was no longer just a legend whispered in maritime circles, it was a verified historical site of immense importance. It was a perfectly preserved time capsule, holding secrets of a bygone era, waiting to be carefully explored and shared with the world. The world's greatest warship, lost for centuries, had finally been found, ushering in a new chapter in maritime archaeology. The Mars isn't just historic, it's astonishingly well preserved. The cold, dark, low-salinity waters of the Baltic have protected the wreck for centuries. Here, shipworms and decay are kept at bay, turning Mars into a perfect time capsule. The ship lies largely intact, as if it sank yesterday. Archaeologists have found not just cannons and coins but everyday objects, shoes, barrels, jugs, glimpses into 16th century life. Because of its fragile state, Mars remains on the seabed. Raising it would risk destroying what makes it unique. Instead, researchers use cutting-edge technology, thousands of high-res photos stitched into 3D models to study every inch. This non-invasive approach allows detailed analysis without disturbing the wreck. They can measure, map, and even read inscriptions virtually. Mars has become the world's deepest, oldest archaeological laboratory. The cold Baltic preserves its secrets, offering a window into the past. It's a new era of archaeology, one that brings the lab to the ship, not the other way around. Every legend needs a curse, and Mars has one rooted in sacrilege. King Eric needed bronze for cannons, so he ordered church bells melted down for his warship. Many saw this as a grave sin, turning sacred objects into weapons. A legend spread. Mars was cursed from the start, haunted by the spirits of desecrated churches. When Mars burned and sank in its first battle, many saw it as divine retribution. The story of the cursed cannons became part of the ship's legend, a warning against arrogance and sacrilege. For centuries, the tale explained how the world's mightiest warship could fall so quickly. Today, the legend lingers, adding a human dimension to the tragedy. The bronze cannons on the seabed are more than artifacts. They're symbols of faith, ambition, and the price of hubris. The curse of Mars endures, echoing through history. The Mars wreck isn't just a ship, it's a battlefield, frozen at the moment of disaster. The debris field is a scene of devastation. Cannons strewn, timbers shattered, weapons scattered. Archaeologists can trace the chaos of the final battle. Cannonballs, swords, scorch marks mapping the fire's path. The explosion that split the hull scattered the ship's contents across the seabed. By mapping the debris, researchers reconstruct the ship's violent end. It's a forensic investigation, 250 feet underwater. Mars offers a unique chance to study the dynamics of a 16th century naval disaster. This battlefield is about more than the ship. It's about the people who fought and died there. For over 800 men, Mars was home, weapon, and tomb. The wreck is a war grave, a memorial to those lost in one of history's most brutal sea battles. Exploring Mars is treading on sacred ground. It stands as a silent monument to the horrors of conflict. Beyond cannons and treasure, Mars reveals human stories. Personal belongings, shoes, mugs, coins, connect us to the individuals who lived and died aboard. Scientific analysis of remains reveals age, diet, and battle injuries, turning anonymous sailors into real people. Each artifact adds a new chapter, transforming Mars from a ship's tale to a human story. For archaeologists like Richard Lundgren, honoring the lost crew is the most important work. They see themselves as storytellers, giving voice to the forgotten. The site inspires a profound sense of connection to the past. Mars reminds us that history is about people, not just kings and battles. Shipwrecks like this bridge centuries, letting us connect with the past on a personal level. The voices from the deep, though silent, are finally being heard. The story of Mars is a timeless lesson in ambition, technology, and the cost of conflict. It was a marvel of engineering, but also a cautionary tale of hubris. No weapon guarantees invincibility. The sea is eternal. Power is fleeting. Mars has revolutionized maritime archaeology, showing the power of non-invasive digital exploration. Its 3D models let anyone virtually visit the wreck, making history accessible to all. Mars is now a global classroom, teaching us about the past and how to preserve it. Its legacy is human connection, reminding us that behind every legend are real lives and lost futures. The shipwreck is a war grave, commanding respect and reflection. Mars, once a symbol of war, is now a messenger of peace and remembrance, its final mission to teach us about our shared humanity, triumphs and tragedies.